When Hitler became dictator of Germany, he applied what he'd written in his book, Mein Kampf. A stronger race will drive out the weak races, for the vital urge crushes the weak to make room for the strong. How did Hitler manage to take power and become the supreme leader? The Führer. Nuremberg, 1929. The Nazi Party Congress marks the beginning of what German playwright Bertolt Brecht will call the resistible rise of Adolf Hitler. The devastating economic crisis which began in the United States has caused havoc throughout the world, particularly in Germany. One after another, factories close their doors, and the number of unemployed reaches 6 million. It is within this climate that many Germans turn to the Nazis, or to the communists, who also have their own uniformed paramilitary troops. Communists and Nazis clash violently in all the elections that follow. Hitler provokes disorder, whilst at the same time claiming to be the only man capable of stopping it. And the tactic proves effective. Hitler rallies small business owners and homeowners to his cause by denouncing the threat of the Red Plague, the egalitarian Marxists. The result is that Hitler is now the leader of the country's second political party, after the Social Democrats. Yet the upper classes, who despise Hitler, seem largely unconcerned. Author Stefan Zweig wrote, "To them, power had always been the reserve of the barons, the princes, and those with a university education. Nothing blinded the German intellectuals as much as pride in their culture." And in the meantime, Hitler's rise continues. In just a year, he comes to dominate the extreme right in Germany. Veterans associations, such as the Steel Helmets, with 500,000 members, will have to obey his orders. Hitler has just emerged from a scandal which might have finished him. Rumors of an event in his private life circulate in the press. He had conceived a passion for his own niece, Gaily Raubel, aged 23. He loved her irrationally, possessively. Gaily Raubel has just committed suicide. She was living with Hitler in his Munich apartment. She confided to a friend, "My uncle is a monster. No one could imagine what he demands of me." She had wanted to leave him, and now she's dead. A press campaign is launched against Hitler, accusing him of sexual perversion and even of having Gaily murdered. Extremely depressed, Hitler threatens to kill himself. His worried entourage decides to act. His photographer, Heinrich Hoffmann, has introduced him to one of his secretaries. She resembles Gaily. Her name is Eva Braun. She's already quite worldly. She fits the bill. She's captivated by the Nazi Party leader's popularity. Hitler will make her his new shadow mistress. He declares himself a bachelor, married to Germany, to gain the sympathy of female voters. At Eva Braun's side, Hitler recovers his strength as a political animal, at a time when the mandate of Germany's president, Hindenburg, is coming to an end. Hitler is among the candidates to succeed him in 1932. Hardly 10 years after his attempted putsch and incarceration, Hitler is on the verge of becoming president of Germany. Germans are subjected to an intensive poster campaign. Nazi propaganda chief Joseph Goebbels devises an ultra-modern election campaign using aeroplanes, a European first. The largest commercial plane of the time is provided by the director of Lufthansa Airlines, who isn't averse to this free advertising opportunity. Hitler sets off on a tour of some 100 German towns, where he can gauge his popularity. His pilot, Hans Bauer, recalled, "We flew in all kinds of weather, even in storms. Cancelling a rally was out of the question. People ended by losing their fear of flying." Hans Bauer concludes that Hitler contributed to the expansion of air traffic. Goebbels invents the slogan, "The Führer above Germany." During these aerial hustings, carefully filmed and then projected all over the country, he forges the myth of Hitler, the supreme savior. But Goebbels cannot relax yet. The campaign is expensive, and the industrial barons are still wary of Hitler's violent methods. The Nazis must charge everyone who comes to listen to Hitler the equivalent of €1. But this doesn't appear to discourage them. A witness, von Spaun, describes his reaction. "I suddenly felt Hitler's eyes on me, and it affected me for the rest of my life." A week before the presidential elections, Hitler brings together 100,000 Berliners, disillusioned with the traditional parties, who seem incapable of facing the crisis. "20-year-old Jutta Rüdiger is in the crowd. I can't explain the state that unemployment plunged us into. We really thought that Hitler alone could get us out of that misery."
Sie reden nicht von den Zehntausenden, die Jahr für Jahr den Gashahn aufdrehen, nicht weil es ihnen zu gut geht.
With his pseudo-social discourse, Hitler becomes a serious candidate for the presidency. The press have a field day. On the right, Hitler is seen as the prototype of the political adventurer. On the left, the insults are more personal. Hitler is described as a pansy, a half-mad cheater, a vain charlatan, a fake tough guy with a rhinoceros hide riding crop. The outgoing president, Marshal Hindenburg, although a reactionary monarchist, is supported by the left. This paradox reflects the growing danger of Hitler's rise, as is hammered home by his most determined opponent, Social Democrat leader Otto Wels.
Entscheidet euch schnell! Es ist keine Minute Zeit mehr zu verlieren. Nur einen Gedanken, ein Ziel kann es noch geben. Der Faschismus muss geschlagen werden bis zur Vernichtung. Arbeit und durch für die Freiheit, die Republik und die deutsche Schaffensarbeit.
The 10th of April 1932. The verdict is announced. Hitler will not be president. 13 million Germans have voted for him, a third of the electorate. It's a huge number, but it isn't enough. Hindenburg, re-elected thanks to the Social Democrats, wants to be free of his dependence on them. And Hitler, continuing his resistible rise, starts campaigning again. As he gives 5 speeches a day, his entourage is reeling. One of his intimates says, "We were like seconds who have to get their boxer back into shape between rounds." But Hitler feeds off the crowds. He's carried away by his own virulence.
Größten Aufgaben dastehen, die nur gelöst werden können, wenn die ganze Kraft der Nation